Hey guys, and welcome to this special ALTX. So today for ALTX, we have me only. Two of my interviewees kind of backed out at the last minute, and another one kind of didn't respond to any of my emails in time. So today it will just be me. And today I'm going to talk about, before I talked about my life coming to Japan, but now I'm going to talk about life in Japan as an ALT, coming to my schools for the first time, training, business, and other things. So let's begin. So as I stated before, I came to Japan because of interest from my grandmother and my family. I wasn't an anime guy, I wasn't a manga guy, I wasn't a cosplayer, I wasn't an otaku. I just liked Japan because it was in my blood. And then I come to Japan, I get a job. It takes me 5 years to find a job in Japan. I tried for 4 years for JET, and then I finally got in through a backdoor corporation, a dispatch company, who I will not name because I don't know if I can. But anyways, so came here to Japan and I finally made it. And this is where the story for today begins. So there are many stories of ALTs that you'll hear of people saying, "Oh, ALTs, it's the most horrible thing on the face of the earth. I hate it so much." Or there's people who say, being an ALT is fine. It's a great job. You have weekends off, you have summers off, you have, great benefits, and you're making good money. But all of that is dependent on not only the dispatch company you work for, or Eikaiwa, the people you work with. So it depends on those things. And of course the town as well. Because each town has had different histories with different ALTs. Like, for example, the history of my town before I came, the ALT before, he started off really good. He was helping out a lot, he was doing everything, and then around Christmas time, there was a song, So This Is Christmas by John Lennon, and he was a very religious man, and he refused to teach. He would stand in the back of the room and just watch the English teacher teach. And he would also refuse to teach anything that had to do with Buddhism, or anything that's not Christian. And we're in Japan, so it's kind of difficult. That's part of the textbook. It's cross-cultural. So my town was very hesitant to bring me and the other ALTs on at the start. So we had to work hard to to make it as ALTs here. And so one thing that I wanted to talk about was being an ALT and making it to your schools. So some people, as I said, will say, "Oh, it's horrible. The people didn't help me at all," like me. I was brought on, and I was brought into Miyagi, and where I am now, and I've been the whole entire time, just in different cities the whole time. And the first time I was taken to Tokyo, and they said, "Okay, you're going to be here. Here's a car. Drive to Miyagi," which is a 5 or 6 hour drive. 7 if you drive with me. I'm slow. And they gave me a car, and so I don't know. So I left with another ALT and followed him all the way up here. And there was one person waiting for us here. And he took us to our apartments, set up the internet in 30 minutes, set it up. And then he was gone. We never heard from him again. And the only time we could get hold of him or anyone else was through email. And then it took days to get back to everything. So that's a horror story. However, if you come through corporations like JET, you are very lucky and they take care of you. Now, granted, you're put in most jets are put into the Inaka, the really out there places, in the middle of nowhere. But some are put into cities too. But they're well taken care of. They have great training, good benefits, cars, everything, usually. And their pay is wonderful. However, there's one thing that all these companies, whether they're good or horror story companies, have in common. That's training. And ALT training has a lot to improve upon, I believe. And I have been to jet trainings and private corporation trainings. I've also been to the Board of Education trainings, and I've also led trainings in my time. And everything they all have the same thing in common. They all talk about the exact same thing. So there's always two different kinds. There's one kind that does, okay, we're going to look over the theories, and they go over one theory of teaching. And there's the other trainings that they focus more on the culture. So, okay, you're in Japan, here's the culture, here's what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. However, the trainings are so thin and so spread out that there's not much that they cover. So I think that ALT trainings should cover more extensively Japanese culture for new ALTs. When I first came to Japan, through my own experience and listening, I'm not sure of other companies and other people's experiences who live in different parts of Japan. But most of the training that you get when you come here is bow and don't have any tattoos, don't drink in front of the students, and don't put cameras in the dressing rooms of your elementary school girls' locker room. I mean, it's stuff like that. And stuff that you are an ALT, you're a foreigner. And if you're in a small town, you will be in a fishbowl and watched everywhere. So be very, very careful. That's the extent of of my training that I got when I first came to Japan with the company that shall not be named. Voldemort. So, anyways, I think training should not only emphasize classical Japanese culture and how it relates to nowadays culture. It should also go over things like group orientation in Japan, as well as the how to be part of the group and punctuality and other things that go into being in Japan, and expectations of you in Japan. Expectations of a teacher compared to a daiki-san, a carpenter, or expectations of you compared to your senpai. That there should be more of that taught first. Then I think that in the trainings there should be more things taught for teaching theory. All these books behind me, not all of them, but a lot of these books here are all teaching books, and something that I had to dig up myself. And I'm going to make a recommendation now. This is not a sponsor, nothing, anything. This is a book that I read by myself. I bought it by myself, and it has really improved my my teaching. And it is Teach Like a Champion. Teach Like a Champion by Doug Lamo. If anyone's a new teacher, and they want to learn some good things about teaching, this is something that I suggest. I've taken a fairly good amount of notes in this thing. And actually, it's something I've reread a couple times, and it's helped me immensely in class. So I think training should go over things like methods to teach well, as well as I think it should go over grammar, grammar science Oxford, then we should go over grammar, make sure everyone knows it. That's something that I struggle with a lot. And we should also go over theories and maxims of how we learn. I believe that, we always say, okay, every school has their own theory. Like there's the ARCS method, or the TPR method, or something that every different school kind of clings on to. And I think that we should not just cling on to those, but we should observe all the different ones, and we should look at neuroscience and how second language acquisition, and we should look at use of patterns in class, and the different ways of learning, not just this is our method, this is how we do it. And unfortunately, that's something that a lot of companies do. And there's one more thing going on with trainings that I think needs to be addressed. And this is something that I hope that people who watch this can get. It is that there needs to be more professional business training done as well. And every time I ask an ALT, so what do you think about being an ALT? What would you improve? I wish that they'd tell us, so the companies, if companies are even watching this, can learn from it and really absorb it and teach it next time. And I hope that the ALTs who are watching, or people who want to come to Japan who watch this, if you guys actually do even watch this, you'll learn a little bit and you'll know what to do before you come. So, for example, like business culture in Japan. Obviously we need to talk about punctuality. Everyone knows Japan is super punctual, but you need to talk about why it's punctual, the history of how it became punctual, and the impact it has on everyday life. And then you need to talk about things like, I don't know, okay, for example, I've been to literally maybe 100 or so trainings in my time here. In my 7 years, I've been to close to 100 trainings, and in every single ALT training that I've been to, even not my company trainings, I've just gone because they're open to the public, there has never once been something called Horenso that is been discussed. Horenso is Hokaku Renraku Sogo. Sorry if I didn't get that. It's a way of doing business in Japan, or making meetings. So you have a something, an idea. You say, hey, you go to your teacher and say, hey, I have this idea, I want to talk about it. And so, okay, they look at it and say, oh, okay, that's good. That's a hoboku. And then, so you talk a little bit about it, you make it, you put it together, and then you go back and say, hey, so take a look at this, tell me what you think, and what changes should we make. And that's then not good. They say, oh, okay, I understand what you said. Here's my interpretation of it. I hope that we can work together on this and do it. And then you finish it, and you give it back to him. You talk some more, and you make the final finishes. Ho kaku renraku sogo, which is just meeting and talking and mashing things out. That's one thing that needs to be talked about, because it is never discussed. I've heard it once, and I was so happy when I heard it. Thanks, guys. You know who you are. And another thing is, you need to talk about things. No, I mean, okay, for example, just cultural things like bonenkais and nomikais. They're something that people don't understand. They're Japanese people like to drink, and that's a bonding experience. And unfortunately for me, I don't go out to those much because I have a family and I have to watch my kid because everyone works at night except for me. So I can't go out to them so much, which has caused me, which is very hard for me because I'm not part of the group anymore. I'm just here. And I'm the guy who comes in every once in a while, and I really try and help out when I can, but I can't go out and bond with the group. I think that's something that needs to be talked about. So horenso, business etiquette, the being part of the group, giving out cards and putting them in your pocket or keeping them on the table, and all these different things that need to be discussed, but they never get discussed. This is something that I'm kind of passionate about, because everyone comes to Japan and it's like, oh yeah, everyone's on time, but then we got drinking parties and drinking parties, and but you don't realize that it's not just to get drunk. It's a bonding experience, and you don't just give a card because, hey, I got a card. It's a point of pride that you have a card. You're part of this company, and then it shows where you are in the company. And then hold on, so you have to do that so you don't have to screw anything up, and then you've got... I could talk about this for a long time. I'm actually in the middle of writing an article on group orientation in Japan, the history of group orientation, and how it affects modern Japan, which will be in the next JOLT Young Learners SIG newsletter, I hope. If it is, please check my Facebook. I'll put a link on it. But speaking of that, and I'll wrap up here because we're almost at time. One thing that needs to be discussed in trainings, because trainings are only generally 1 or 2 days, and there's not enough to go over the whole spectrum of things that need to be discussed. I mean, it's impossible to go through all the different things like Horenso and all that, business trade models and all these, and all these different things. It's impossible to do that in 2 days. That's why I think things need to be discussed more, like ALTs need to be made aware of other things like outside help. So in my first year, I came to Japan and I fell in love with teaching right away. I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what I'm here for. So I searched online for professional development, and I found right away JOLT, Japanese Association of Language Teaching. And I'm a board member now. I'm the ALT liaison of Miyagi for JOLT Sendai. You can go to joltsendai.org and you can find my information. Email me if you want. But I mean, out of all Miyagi ALTs before I got here, no one had heard of JOLT except for maybe 1 or 2 other people. So there's plenty of organizations out there. ETJ, English Teachers of Japan, JOLT. There's what is it? Not JICA. There's the Japanese College Language Teachers Association, like something like that. There's all these different organizations that need to be brought to light to ALTs that would help the ALTs who actually want to be here and not just drink and party. It would help them to come in and to really learn and get rooted and network and something. So I beg of you, if you are from a company and you're watching this, if you are an ALT and you're watching this and you're learning right now of ETJ, JOLT, the Japanese Association of High School Language Teachers, the Japanese Association of College Language Teachers, anything, look them up, give them a call. You can email me for all I care. I will dig up as much information as I can just for you. Because it is my passion. It is my, I hate using the word passion, but it's the thing that I'm here for. The reason I'm making videos, to support you so you can become a better teacher. So I'm at time. Just training needs to be fixed. And Zehi, really, if anybody wants to talk to me more about the training, what I think needs to be changed, email me. You should be able to find all my information on my Google Plus or Facebook, and I would be more than happy to talk with you. And other than that, guys, I hope that these videos have been a little bit helpful. And I just want you to be the best you can be as ALTs, teachers, and citizens of Japan while you're here. So that's all I have for this ALTX. I've got no extra projects going on. Hopefully I'll have that article written, and I'll put a link on my Facebook page. And I'm hoping to get some collaborations done with other ALTs for different projects. So hopefully those will come out in a little bit if ALTs would actually get back here. So anyways, guys, thanks a lot for watching this video if you did. And please feel free to email me, write in the comments. I'm always looking forward to talk to people and learn more. All right, take it easy. Bye-bye.